Today we're going to be looking at a wonderful deck that I've been testing out, and it is Scareclaw, Kashtira, or Scarecash. And in my opinion, this deck is really unique. It is a deck that could base around itself from the Scareclaw line or the Kashtira line, or both, if you actually get to the right pieces of the combo. You can on a scary board of something like a Shangri-La, Rise Heart, Barone, and a Tri-Heart, on top of having a couple cards face down for negate. Or you can just go a whole entire Tri-Heart lock or even a whole entire Kashtira lock if you really need it. But let's go through the card by card and talk about each decision that there is, and talk about why I put certain cards at certain ratios. So first off, we have all of our heart cards. We have Visa Starfrost, triple Right Heart, and one Rise Heart. Now this is your core cast of the Heart series, outside of Reno Heart, because Reno Heart really doesn't do much in this deck. Now, Starfrost is one of your tuners that you could use and utilize to summon out something like Barone de Flor, or you can use Ash Blossom and a Kashtira monster. Outside of that, this being able to go into Light Heart is very good, but also being able to destroy something on the field that can put other cards alive, like your Tri-Heart or even any Kashtira card like Birth. After that, we have our Right Heart. This card is the card that gets to your Twin Sword or Twin Saw or Scareclaw Arrival, a Monster Reborn, and a substitution effect. And in my opinion, I really do enjoy this card. Then we have Rise Heart. It is an extender for your Kashtira side, but I normally don't use that. I just use it for the normal summon to banish something like Theosis or another Kashtira card if I drew Birth. So it could be very useful in that aspect, also along with reinforcements of the army, giving me a total of 4 of one copy and 2 of the other, on top of the planets that I run that adds an extra couple to it. Next up, we have the Kashtira side, being double Unicorn, double Fenrir, and double Kashtira Scareclaw. No tier elements, because in my opinion, tier elements isn't really utilized in this deck that well, and it's not really that good in this deck, or even against current matchups. After that, we have the Scareclaw lineup, which is triple Acro, which gives all your extra deck Scareclaw monsters additional 300 attack for each defense position monster you control, so you can gain a total of 1500 attack, which is very useful. We have Astra, which is the next best name, being the extra deck monster. Scareclaw monster can attack up to the amount of times of Scareclaw monsters you control with different names, so you can attack up to 5 different times. And then Balone is there for piercing battle damage. And also, Kashtira or Scareclaw Kashtira can attack in defense position, so it really comes out in handy. Now let's get into the core cast of the spells and traps of the deck. We have Kashtira Theosis. This is a very utilized card for the deck because it just gets to your names faster, but also it can recycle your names very usefully. Birth is just a revival from graveyard or banished, but also can DD Crow 3 cards from your opponent's graveyard if they use a spell effect, which could be detrimental to your opponent. We have double Scareclaw Arrival, which is a Monster Reborn, but also a Destruction Substitute effect, which I really do like. After that, we have, for the planets, double Pressured Planet. This is another copy of all your Kashtira monsters, and that's pretty much it. We have one Primeval Planet Perlino. This is another copy of Visa Starfrost. And then we have Primitive Planet Horachophobia, which is another copy of your Starfrost or any of your Scareclaw monsters. So essentially, imagine every single Scareclaw at 4 or 5 copies per deck, on top of Kashtira Scareclaw being up to a total, believe it or not, 6 copies at most, or even more because Fenrir, so putting it up to 8. So, in my opinion, this is your most searched card in the deck, next to Fenrir or even Raychart. And then we have Twin Saw. It is a Sword Soul, Blackout, Icarus attack, whatever you want to call it, because this card is super useful, attributing a Scareclaw monster, then target 2 cards your opponent controls, destroy them, and if you do, if you control a Visa Starfrost, banish those destroyed cards instead of sending them to the graveyard. And if a Link 3 or higher monster is on the field, you can banish this card from your graveyard for the rest of the turn. Neither player can activate Link monster effects on the field. So this card is super useful, but you can only use one effect once per turn. This card shuts down the mirror match. This card shuts down any deck that's running Link monsters. So if you just send it to the graveyard off of a discard, or just happens to get it to the graveyard for a later point in the game, this card is really, really useful. And now for the staples. For the hand traps, of course, triple Ash, triple Imperm. The 2 best hand traps that, in my opinion, are back to how they are. We have 2 triple tactics talents. This card is really good because it's either a draw 2, but most of the time you're not going to use that. You are either going to be using take control of one opponent's monster till the end of the turn, or look at your opponent's hand and rip a card. And then we have double thrust. This card is just another copy of all your normal spells, being reinforcements of the army, arrival, talents, terraforming, and even imperm. So this card being here is super useful. You could set the imperm, you could instantly set the twin saw, so you have backup plays just in case if your main plays get stopped by something like a Valor, Ash, Bell, Ogre, or whatever. Terraforming, because we have 5 field spells. You could run set rotation, but I'd rather not give my opponent free advantage if they're on Tearlament or Kashtira, or even Scareclaw, because this is a very good card since they can get Scareclaw Kashtira. Now, I'm running 2 Crossout Designator and 1 Call by the Grave. Crossout Designator is one of those cards that, in my opinion, has definitely gotten better over time, as if you go against a mirror match for this deck, you can shut off your opponent by getting rid of Birth, you can get rid of Theosis, you can get rid of pretty much any card in the deck and just respond to whatever, which in my opinion is really good. You go cross out Fenrir, Unicorn, and hope to God they didn't draw anything else, because that hinders part of their play. Hitting Unicorn off this thing cuts off access to Theosis unless if they drew it. Crossout Designator is just good against hand traps and also getting rid of cards from the graveyard that activate there or trying to summon back from there. Or if they have like a Fenrir or a Unicorn on board, you could just call by the grave the other one in graveyard and get rid of it. So when they activate their effect, you can call by the grave the other copy and just get rid of it. And that's one thing I love about having these 2 ofs and the 1 call by the grave. They all have their important uses. I don't want to run 3 because I don't want to brick into them and up the deck count more. I don't want to run 1 where they're less impactful. I'd rather run 2 because that's where most of the other cards will shine. And for the extra deck, we have 1 Baronne de Fleur, 1 Divine Arsenal AA Zeus, Sky Thunder, 1 Kashtira Arise Heart, 1 Diablos Mindhacker, and 1 Shangri-La. For the links, we have 1 Appaloosa, 1 Blacklisted Soldier Chaos. This can be really anything. 2 Scareclaw Tryheart, 1 Nightmare Unicorn, 1 Asa, and 1 Dark Charmers, 1 Cross Sheep, because this card is actually very good. It gets better with Vicious Ashtroud when he comes over to the TCG in Cyberstorm Access, and double Lightheart. So let's run down the extra deck real quick. Baronne de Fleur is really here just for Starfrost and Reach Heart to Synchro Summon into if you don't have enough monsters, or if you have enough extenders to go into this, plus you try Heart. After that, Zeus is just very good because generical rank 7s and all that. The reason why I brought up taking control of your opponent's monster, if they activated Shangri-La, you could take their Shangri-La and go into Arise Heart, or you could take their Arise Heart and summon an Arise Heart. Because it doesn't state that you can't use Arise Heart for the summon of Arise Heart, just like Zeus. Mindhacker is great because it rips cards out of your opponent's extra deck. Shangri-La is great because it gets out your Unicorn and Fenrirs from the deck. Tryheart one of the best link monsters that there is right now for a deck like this. Being able to use 3 effect monsters, making all monsters go into defense and is unaffected by defense position monsters where they actually have to have the link monster out to this card, or have a big enough beat stick that cannot be put to defense or is unaffected by other card effects. But this card is really hard out if you have something like Astra, Acro as on the field, because you have to get rid of them. Even then, you have protection to destruction by battle. After that, we have Lightheart, which is just another copy of Rage Phobia, and it summons itself back if you have Starfrost on the board, which, in my opinion, will come up a lot. Now, for Visa's Starfrost, we're still waiting on Vicious Ashtroud, which must be special summoned from your extra by banishing the above cards from your field and or graveyard, which is pretty easy. And if this card is special summoned, you could target one other monster on the field, destroy it, and if you do, this card gains attack equal to the attack, half the attack of the destroyed monster's original attack or defense, whichever is higher, and it cannot be destroyed by battle. One of the ways that you can get this out is Prisma, Element Hero Prisma, because you could just get rid of the Starfrost from your deck. So there is that. But let's do one test hand to show you what this deck can do. So we open up Fenrir and Rage Phobia. We have an Ash Blossom, Cross Out, and Imperm, so we have 3 direct outs to our opponent. Usually what I would do, I would go Reach Phobia first and just add something like a Reach Heart to the hand. Now, just get the Fenrir out, use the Fenrir, and we are actually going to grab Scareclaw Kashtira, because this is one of the most useful cards in the deck. We're going to go into the right chart to grab Arrival, Link away to summon out our Lightheart, and Lightheart's going to grab our planet. So this is where we can go up into something like a Triheart, or we can go up into a rank 7 like a Mind Hacker, rip a card, get rid of some resources, and then go up into a Triheart if we really, really wanted to. But we can also go activate effect, summon, activate, summon, banish that, and do that exact play. Or we can end on Appaloosa for 4, which isn't that good, but we still have some backup. So we have hands like this. This is actually a better hand because this is 2 total Scareclaw effects, or just monsters alone, and this gets us to where we need to be. Special the Fenrir, we're going to normal summon the Acro, we're going to special summon the Heart, use Heart's effect, grab our Arrival, link into Lightheart, Lightheart's effect grabbing planet, activating the planet, and we get to add whatever we want. We're going to add Starfrost, because this is the main line we want to do. We're going to destroy the Scareclaw Lightheart, summon it back, go into Barone, and we still have material, so we could go into this, summon out Acro if we really wanted to, and then go into Triheart. Or, like I said before, we could summon out the Scareclaw, banishing our Right Chart, going up into Mind Hacker. Now, since this is just an AI, we're just going to banish whatever. We get to eat the top card of the deck, go into this, set 2, activate the effect of Triheart, grabbing Acro, summoning it, and we get to go and grab an Astra. And we just summon this to defense, and we have Twin Soul Live, we have Imperm, we have a Barone, and we have a pretty much boss tower on the board with a protection in graveyard. So this deck can work when it needs to work, and it does work how you're supposed to do it. But I hope you guys did enjoy this showcase of Scareclaw Kashtira, because this is the deck that I've always really wanted to play, and it's so much fun playing the deck with how much utility there is. And the one great thing about this deck, you could just go into a Light Heart if you really need to, but sometimes you don't really need to, in my opinion. Because with this, you could just, let's just go get rid of this, activate the effect, summon this back, and we get to add Balone, and then Balone gets to summon itself. And if we just see, swing 1, swing 2, and that's game. But anyways, I've been Bolt Spider. I hope you guys did enjoy, and see you guys in the next video.